Alright guys, welcome to Musk Mondays, welcome back. It's good to be back, it's been too long. I'm Blake.
Chris.
We're here to just inform you about crypto, we're here to tell you a little bit about what we've been doing, and I guess we'll get started with that. As you guys know, we are putting together a hosting facility. I think that's the first topic we really want to touch on. We're dealing with a plethora of variables that we just didn't foresee, right? Delays and delays and delays. We have plenty of opportunity out there, and what it really comes down to is off-grid versus on-grid for us. Everybody wants to be off-grid. It's just easier at some points. On-grid versus off-grid, each one of them has their advantages, and off-grid is something like a natural gas facility, which is what we're going to operate with, either a stranded well or a flare-based system. And on-grid is just your typical power supplier, right? So when you go to your power company and you tell them what you want to have for a certain capacity and what you're going to consume and all that, it's just a standardized process. And that's a straightforward avenue in a lot of ways, but in other ways it's not. And we're finding out all the ways it's not. And to elaborate a little bit on that, the original intent for us was to order containers, which we have. We have them on their way. We have 1.3 megawatts of containers coming in next month. We're really excited for that. It's going to be a beautiful thing. We were either going to place those on a natural gas site or on grid, right? And I touched a little bit on those. The natural gas site is just, it's tougher because as you come online and as you generate this power, you endure variables that you didn't consider because there's so many things like generators and your container sizes and your schematics for the container that have to line up perfectly. Natural gas has an advantage where we can turn that generator to the input voltage of the container, such as a 415, right? Standard on-grid power, which we're finding out, is a 480 volt input. And transformers, to step down to 480, 240 are a lot easier to find than 415, 240. So when you set on a natural gas site, you don't have to worry about that transformer. You could just put your generator down and turn it to 415 and plug your container in and fly. Obviously there's more to it, right? But that's a simple kind of obstacle that we've endured. And so touching on that or further on that, when you get on grid and you want to take a 415 volt input container or a 415 input container and plug it in on grid, that transformer is going to be your key. That 415 step down is going to be your key. And the availability on those things right now is just nuts. 6 weeks at least minimum. Yeah. We've been quoted 6 months.
Something like that. Yeah. I mean, the variables that we're dealing with on-grid are just, there's so much more difficult to actually obtain than going off-grid. Like off-grid, we could just set up almost immediately. On-grid, there's just delays everywhere. And you're seeing that across the country. It's not just us. It's every facility trying to get transformers or any type of electrical equipment. They're struggling, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware, especially if you're trying to get co-locations or up and mining. Like we're not the only ones that are dealing with it, so it's been tough in that aspect, trying to choose which avenue to pursue.
So further, I guess, in the long grand scheme of things, where we sit with hosting is we have every intention of hosting everybody we can and filling up all of our capacity. And the way that we're going to do that is with the most reliable source of energy at the quickest timeline with the most economical cost, right? So, if we can get on-grid power at 7.5 cents, it really slims down our margins when we host for people, right? So we want to, if you can get a penny on an S19, that's a great thing. But if you can get 2 pennies on a margin on an S19, that's even better, right? But then again, if you get too high and you margin that 2 cents, it cuts into your client's profit, right? And we have every intention of making this a symbiotic relationship for both us and the client. So if we're taking away our client's profits just for taking their machine and plugging it into our facility, which is probably a little bit harder said than done, we don't want to see our clients lose too much money. So we want to make it so that you guys don't have to endure the heat, endure the noise, endure all the elements that come with these machines, getting your electrical upgraded, getting your HVAC where it needs to be. So you just send them to us, and we plug them in, and we're ready to go. But there is that threshold where you do cross it, and so off-grid does allow us to get a little bit cheaper power, and it allows us to slim down our margin. Shout out to Nick, Space Design Warehouse, promoted us at 8.5 cents, and we want to maintain that, and we can on our natural gas site. But if we can get on-grid power more quickly, and we have to charge another penny on that to 9.5 cents, we might just do that, right? Or we might attempt to do that. And maybe demand will drop way down, and maybe people will look at us and say, you're nuts, man, I don't want to pay 9.5 cents. The market's there for 9.5 cents. We have reached out to colleagues, and people are taking that price. But if you can get 8.5, why would you pay 9.5, right? So Chris and I just need to get it done. We are going to get it done. We're going to get the natural the natural gas site rolling. But we'd also like to be on grid as well, and that, whatever that entails.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot of time. We're doing our due diligence still. We always have been.
I think the timeline that we're anticipating is approximately 8 to 12 weeks from now, and that's for natural gas. So if that comes to fruition and we have that natural gas available at that time, hopefully we will have a site on grid prior to that, because we're in North Dakota, all the ground's frozen right now, guys. We don't have as many options as we would if the ground was unfrozen, and we could run different transmission lines and set transformers and put pads and everything else under the sun. So normally around here it thaws out in about April, maybe March. And that's just judging by when agriculture rolls, because the farmers get in the ground and they start breaking up the soil. That's when we're going to be able to lay pads for transformers and start doing real infrastructure-based work. And as that occurs, if we can snag good, cheap power and set our containers and roll right away in our backyard, then that's what we're going to do. As time progresses, we're just going with this in a fluid motion. That's all we can do, and we're taking it as it rolls. We are not taking orders for our slots yet, just because we don't want to take an individual's order and then not have our hosting come online when we anticipated. And that's a mistake that we've seen some hosting providers make in the past. We don't want to repeat that mistake.
We did check out our hosting facility in Texas. That was pretty fun. It was good to get down there and check it out. It's something to talk about it and know that it's in the works, but to actually get down there and see it was pretty exciting. We have some footage for you guys. We'll be posting that all over social media as well.
No, the other thing we want to touch on today is what most common questions we get, and one of the biggest ones, or the two biggest ones, have been about the S19 XP and the S19 Hydro 198 terahashes. Those things are nuts, right? They're the next best thing. We get questions all the time. Do you guys, number one, do you take S19 XP 140 terahash orders? Yeah, we do. They're ready to go. We're taking them for July. Now, that being said, we are encouraging clients to anticipate further delivery, meaning August or September. That's really conservative, but we're basing that off what we're seeing with the L7s, guys, and we'll touch on the L7s in a little bit. But Bitmain has been notorious for delays, and they're living up to that right now, especially with those L7s. If the XPs are still enduring the chip shortage that we're seeing now, we just can't sit here and say, hey man, we're going to give you a July order and it's going to be delivered in July. We're not going to do that. So we're just trying to be as transparent as possible. Has that turned some people off from ordering? Absolutely. But we're also trying to be honest. Yes! Dude, don't edit that out.
Not.
Back to the XPs. I mean, yeah, guys, aside from the delivery, we've been asked a lot about what we think of the machines. And there's a couple of different things you can consider when you're buying a machine. The biggest is obviously your ROI and how quickly you're going to make your money back. The other would be depreciation of your unit and how quickly these go out of the profitability range. And as you look at these 140s, they're a beautiful thing. They're going to be amazing machines. They're going to have really good profitability, especially if you get them at the pre-order price that we're listing, about $14,230, I think is what we listed them last for now. And that'll increase as the market increases, and that hasn't dropped with this recent market drop. So that's been a challenge. I think it's just due to the popularity of the units why it hasn't dropped, because they're the next best thing, right? They can still sell them for that price because, I mean, they're the newest, right? They're the best. And my reaction to if we think these are going to be good machines is simple. I like time tested. I like machines that have showed us that they can operate under pretty abnormal conditions, whether that be immersive conditions or air-cooled conditions, hot, cold, different situations, different humidity. And it really comes back to the best example of that would be the S19 Pro 104 in our experience. Those machines are really reliable, really good machines. And so when you consider that against the 140 terahash and the XP, you just don't know what you're going to get with the XP. You don't know what you're going to get with the newest version of what Bitmain is pushing out. It could be just like the 104s in that it's beautiful and that it's reliable and it works well. Or it could be another 17 model series, right? There is potential where, I don't know, the heat sinks fall off, right? And not saying that's going to happen, but you just never know. So as we move forward, we've been encouraging clients that if they want to mine now, just buy some 104s, man. They're awesome machines. The 110s are great as well. You also have to consider your delayed income. You're fronting a lot of capital for machines that you're not going to get a return on until July at the earliest. Yeah. And that's something absolutely to consider. Some people might not have infrastructure ready until July, so that works great. Maybe guys are like, hey, I'm going to get power from the power company. It's going to be super cheap, and it's not coming out until July. Hell yeah, do that, guys. That's beautiful. Pre-order or buy the XPs. Pre-order other machines or buy the XPs, because people often overlook the significance of pre-order price drops. That's how you get these things super cheap, guys. If you can anticipate power coming on in 1 to 2 months, buy the pre-order units, right? Pay way less and wait a little while if your infrastructure isn't going to be ready. So that's my spiel on the XPs. You guys want some free stuff? Check this out. We got this bad boy. We're going to give it away for free, okay? What you guys have to do is guess what is in this. What is in this nice styrofoam, beautifully packaged square, okay? We'll give you a hint. It is an ASIC. That's it, right? Is that all we're saying? Or
that's all you get.
So you guess what make, model. You guess what make and model is in this box. You guess what make and model is in this styrofoam. And whoever gets it correct, out of the pool of people that get it correct, because we would assume more than one person are going to get it correct, because there's only so many make and models out there that are in this.
And you only get one guess.
Yeah, that's true.
You can't list out like 10 different models. Okay?
People are going to find loopholes in our little spiel, and they're going to
make multiple accounts.
They're going to expose it, right? Yeah, they're going to make. There's going to be that guy out there.
Just comment and like the post.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
And follow us. Yeah, you got to follow us on Twitter.
All of our medias, and subscribe to our YouTube.
All of our medias.
Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, our Discord.
Should we just make them follow us? Or Jesus, should we just ask them to follow us on Twitter, or should we ask for all of the socials?
All of the socials. We have all of our socials listed below, so if you guys want to follow us on there, subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and leave a comment below, and you only get one guess.
Yeah.
So, one model.
Don't be that guy, guys. Just don't do that. Just don't be that guy who makes multiple handles just to get an S9. Come on, guys.
I mean, if you do, you put in the work.
I guess so.
But
that's true. I think there was one last thing we wanted to touch on, and that's the S19 Hydros, right? Did I touch on that? So the Hydros are available on Bitmain's website. I think they're listed in May to some other timeline. We can get them, guys. We can get them a whole container worth. It's the only way we can get them, but we can get them. And the whole container is $2.8 million. And that comes with 196 miners and the container that operates said miner. So what people are kind of missing about these Hydros is you're going to have a certain system to run a miner. Now, people are going to make these. We already know there's too many good engineers out there and too many developers. Yes, fall again. There's too many do-it-yourselfers out there that aren't going to let this happen, where they're going to buy one of these hydros and they're going to make just like your home immersive system, and they're going to run these hydros, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be all over Twitter. More power to them. If you do that, hit us up. I want to talk to you about how you did it. But otherwise, we can get full containers of these things, guys. And we've been approached, by individuals to say, hey guys, if you have power, right, for our on-grid or off-grid sites, if you have power,
just let it go, man. Just let it go.
So we've been approached by individuals that said, hey, if you guys have power, if I have a container, can I set it on your site? Absolutely, right? Let's work out some pricing. If that's something that you guys are interested in on these units, is if you want to buy a container and set it on our site and have us operate it for you, we would work through that process. But that's the only way we can get those hydros right now. And we don't know much about them. We don't know much about how reliable they're going to be, what it's going to take to operate them. We just know that there are farms out there, and they have been operating these things for some time. So I know Bitmain does do, pretty rigorous testing on some of these units. And go check out our Reddit page, guys. We posted about these things 2 months ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Approximately.
Yeah.
And at the time, to be honest, it was new to us, right? We didn't know what was going on, but they were freaking cool, And now they're getting announced, and orders are being taken for them. So if that's something you guys are interested in, let us know. Otherwise, what we know about him is that's about it, right? Shout out to Nick, Space Warehouse Design, because he's dope and he does really good work. That was the worst shout out. We're actually going to do this same thing with Nick, Space Warehouse Design. Check him out. He's our go-to guy for all the immersive testing. He does really killer work on all kinds of different evaluations, from overclocking firmware to GPU thermal pads to, the guy's awesome, right? And he just does really, really cool stuff. Check him out on YouTube, Space Warehouse Design. We're going to be giving away an S9 with Nick as well, so follow him, and that'll be in the next week or two after the Chinese New Year. We got to order some more of these guys, so bear with us there. But shout out to Nick and Space Warehouse Design.
Yeah, and if you guys have any suggestions for future videos, leave a comment below or DM us. Reach out. We respond to pretty much everything within a day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again next Monday.